Well, 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 look who it is. All right, so as promised, I'm back to share with you the next artwork that I contributed to the Harmonic Ethos mystery box. For those of you joining me for the first time, and for friends who have no idea who I am, if you're seeing me and meeting me for the very first time, my name is Maximilian. I'm an artist. I've been in the crypto space since 2021. And today I want to introduce you now to the second work that I've contributed to the Harmonic Ethos loot box. This is an iconic art experience that you can enjoy. Oh yes, this is something that you can enjoy yourself. So for those who have never experienced something like this before, if the concept of a loot box is totally new, the idea is very much like walking up to a vending machine and putting some money in. You can see all of the items that the machine has to offer, but unlike a vending machine, you don't know which ones you're going to get. And that's why this is so fun. So first, I'm going to show you the second of my 3 contributions into the loot box. Then, at some point soon, together, we can go into the VR gallery and we can look at mine and all the other works. Really, I want to see the other works in the drop. Right now, the whitelist is open. For new friends to crypto art, the whitelist is like an allow list. It's a list of people who have already been approved to buy art early. So as an artist in the drop, I'm on that list. I signed up for it. That means that I have early access. I can go in and get a piece. So this is really helpful, especially in situations where there are fewer pieces than collectors and the collection is likely to sell out. So today, after I show you the pieces I contributed, we can go together and check out the virtual gallery so that when the public sale opens, you already have your eye on a few pieces. And I can't wait to see what you'll get. This is a cultural phenomenon, and I urge you to take this opportunity to enjoy this experience. If you have never collected art like this before, it is like nothing else before. It is such a thrill. It is so fun. So let's get back to moi. All right, so this second piece, this is a Scaravaggio. And for friends who are new to my Scaravaggio works, Scaravaggio is a persona that I work in my more esoteric explorations of life and art. Just like with my abstract art, I seek to explore experiences that I have hard time putting into words. With Scaravaggio, I seek to put into visual arts experiences which I have the words for, but which I am not supposed to share in words. You know, there are some experiences that you're meant to share, but not necessarily in words. You get my drift? So through Scaravaggio, I share many of the things that I've learned in my life. Life lessons, mysteries, epiphanies, answers, and sometimes I ask questions. But this is the place where I get to the bone. You know, Scaravaggio is all about the bones. It's about what's beyond this life. Do you know I've seen quite some things, really. I've got some amazing stories that I'm so looking forward to sharing with you, all in good time. But for today, let me start with this. This is one of my favorite Scaravaggio busts. This comes from a series. I've contributed 3 Scaravaggio busts to the Harmonic Ethos collection, Mystery Loot Box. And it comes from a series that you'll find on Ethereum, you'll find it on Base, and soon you'll find it on Bitcoin as well. Each bust is unique, and each tells a story. This is Scaravaggio by the Sea. If you've been following me for a while, or even if you just met me today, you can probably tell I'm a mermaid. And the ocean is very special to me. Let me tell you a story. First of all, you should know I was born in Los Angeles, California. I'm a beach baby. And I spent many, many days at the beach. I mean, of course, our memories as adults, when we go back in our memories to childhood, it may not match up exactly, but to my memory, I was at the beach every day as a child. That's how I remember it. And I love collecting seashells. And when you think about it, what are seashells? They're skulls of sea creatures. So here I am, Scaravaggio, baby Scaravaggio, collecting little tiny seashells, right? Tiny, tiny skeletons, right? So I'm on the beach and I'm totally immersed in collecting seashells. So I totally didn't see the giant tidal wave that was swelling up and swept me away. Oh no, I'm not making this up. I was swept away by that wave. And what's so interesting about it is it knocked me down and also swept me up like this. It just grabbed me like this and it held me just right here, right? Held me right here. And so it carried me out to sea just like this. Really, 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 really just carried me out. And I was conscious during all of that. It was the most phenomenal seat I've ever had in my entire life. Sitting in the curl of a wave, and I looked down the tube, I could see miles down. That's how it looks. It looks like I'm looking miles down the tube this way. It looks like I'm looking down the tube this way, but guess what? Wasn't miles. Wasn't miles. And as I sat in the curl of the wave, it was, and then right in front of my face, just like, inches in front of my face is like this wall of water. I already knew not to touch that. If I had probably even touched a tiny bit of that wall, it probably would have sucked me out of the little curl that I was sitting in. I was just uniquely positioned, balanced just so I was safe, and in this little, it was like being in the eye of a tornado. And I was sitting in this wave. It seemed like for a very long time. And I looked down far, far, it was fascinating looking down the tube. But when I looked back this way, I saw that the wall of water was closing. And even though I was young, I did understand what that meant. And I also knew that I wasn't going to see my mom again, or my father, or any of my little stuffed animals. I really did understand that it was the end. And so I decided I wasn't going to look that way anymore. And I just turned this way. And if there was one feeling, one emotion that was overall, I would say it was one of fascination and awe and appreciation too. I was not afraid. I knew what was coming, I thought, and I was ready for it. I wouldn't say I was excited about it, but the moment was exciting. And with all the water around me, I'm sure you can imagine how the sound, isn't that great? I say the sound and the sound goes on. I'm sure you can imagine the sound. Um, the sounds were a combination of utter silence, powerful noise, and there was the moments then where my little bedroom of waves started to fall apart. And I knew things were going to get rocky. And so I held tight. And I'll say all the times that I thought I was going to die, it comes down to just one question: eyes open or eyes closed? I always choose eyes open. But ironically, that's the last choice I remember making, because the next thing I know, I woke up on the sand. I had been rescued, I had been pulled from the waves, and I must have passed out, but my mother rescued me and she revived me. Ironically, it was not the lifeguard. It is what it is. So see, when you see elements of the ocean and the sea in my artwork, it's deeply personal. And you might be surprised to hear that after a few minutes of recovery, honestly, my mom made me wait longer than I wanted to. Oh, yes, this little bitch was back in the waves, playing and everything. Why? Because I felt love from the ocean. I felt like carried away gently. It was such a wonderful, even though it was dangerous and potentially life-threatening experience, the sea treated me with kindness and ultimately returned me to my Earth Mother and to all of you. So every time you see elements of the ocean in my art, understand it's a love letter and a bookmark to my mother, the sea, the other world to which I also belong. I have more stories of the sea that I'm going to share with you, perhaps another time. But right now, let's get into this. I'm sure that you can see when you look at this skull that there's green grass, and has like the green grass, and it also has like the grass after it's maybe in the winter time. So as I shared with you, I'm from California, and I know people think we don't have seasons, but we totally do. And one thing I do cherish is, the grasses by the sea, how they get so pale and washed out, but they're still so beautiful. And I love the moss by the sea. I love all of the undersea water. And underneath the ocean, it looks so much to me like the desert. And I feel like the plants at the bottom of the sea, they also remind me so much of desert plants as well. So phenomenal. The flowers of the desert look so much like the flowers of the sea. I wonder what the connection is there. Do you? So when you look at the Scelavaggio by the sea, and you see the elements that remind you of the different plankton and plants and seaweeds that you may recognize as familiar, and then you also see flowers. So being from California, the places where I go to the beach, I usually would go to like Malibu, and it's a little bit wild. There's still, you're still kind of walking over some bluffs and so on. And so there are still, little rocky areas where there's still sea anemone and, there's still wild grasses and plants growing. It's not like some places I've been on the East Coast where there's like stairs and there's like handles. No, 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 fan. It's very much like, one thing I love about going to the beach, is it kind of reminds me of like an era before our time, parking and then finding a place to like kind of meander and walk down. So those are like my favorite ways to go down. Of course, down where in my childhood area in Hermosa Redondo, there's just big parking lots, and you don't have to go down any bluffs because the beach is just right there. You park, and you mean like you're getting out of your car practically right into the sand. I can practically smell the churros just thinking about it. Anyway. It's been my pleasure to share the behind the story of this Scelavaggio by the sea. So you understand that this is encompassing, it's talking about the seasons, the beauty of freshness when the algae is green and the moss is alive, and also when the seagrass is dry. It's also a beautiful time. So I hope that you really enjoyed my sharing of the personal story behind this. And I look forward to your comments. And I look forward to hearing your stories of the sea. And this Scelavaggio bust is one of 3 that's included in the Harmonic Ethos Mystery Box drop. It is live. If you are on the allow list, art awaits. The public sale, I believe it's open soon. I'll be back to show you the 3rd work that I contributed to this series, and then I've got a special thing that we're going to do together, which is we can walk through the gallery together and check out the works. I'm really so excited because I haven't seen them all and I really can't wait. In the meantime, you don't have to wait for me. I would say go to x.com and then in the search bar, put the hashtag and put in harmonic, Harmonic, ethos, Ethos, and then you'll be introduced to many of the artists in the drop. As we're sharing our works, you'll get an opportunity to see them. Remember, when you purchase a work of art from the mystery box, you don't know which works of art you'll receive, but you know they're going to be fabulous. My name is Maximilian. Thank you so much for joining me. You'll see me again soon. Thank you for front-running crypto art.